Hi, this is Angie here at Abundant Acres Homestead, and today is setting up to be a super warm day. A lot of humidity. So, I'm gonna get out in the garden early and try to get some stuff harvested. Well, I shouldn't say some stuff harvested. Gonna get carrots harvested. I really should have started harvesting these last week because they got, they're pretty decent size, but the problem is I left them in too long, so they're kind of starting to get a little woody, and that kind of takes the flavor out of them. So you want to make sure that when you plant your carrots that you're actually paying attention to the dates and getting them harvested in time, because that's when they're actually really super sweet. But it's fine. I'm still going to process them, and it's still going to be wonderful. A lot of people think that you need a lot of land to garden, and that's not true. You can grow things in small areas. You can see this here, I actually have 2 of these windmills, and underneath the windmill is just a 2x3 bed. You can see here that I've got the carrots. You saw me harvest the carrots over there. This side I have yet to harvest. That side I just harvested, and look how much I got out of a 2x3 bed. These here I'm actually going to take inside. I'm going to go ahead and start processing those, and then I'll come back out and I'll pick this bed as well. Okay, we're inside with our first harvest of carrots. It looks like a whole bunch, but most of it's green tops. There are carrots down in here, so I'm going to go ahead and start pulling those out, and I'll just kind of go over things as I'm doing it. First thing I like to do is to get the green tops off the carrots, and there is a reason for that. If I leave the tops on, what happens is the plant realizes that it's in distress because it's been pulled from the ground. So what will happen is this root, which is the carrot part that we eat, will do what it can to send its moisture, flavors, and all of the goodness up to these carrot tops to try to keep the whole plant alive. We're not trying to keep the whole plant alive, and we're trying to keep all the flavor we can, so the tops have to come off. The carrot tops don't have to be a complete waste. There's a few different ways you can use it. Actually, there's a lot of people that just like eating them fresh. I am not one of those people. But you can use the tops and cut them, dry them, and use them just as you would parsley flakes. A lot of people will use the carrot tops just like they would parsley, either fresh or dry. Here on Abundant Acres Homestead, it is going to be a treat for the chickens, and I will probably even take stew some out. So, I don't know, I might keep a few to dry just because I don't have that many parsley flakes, and I didn't get any parsley planted because it takes forever. So I probably will be drying a few of these for my own dried parsley. Now there's a few different ways that you can preserve carrots. First is probably the easiest, and I don't know if it works for those in the South, but I know here we live in Indiana, so we have colder winters, but you can actually just keep them in the ground. Now, if you was wanting to store and keep them in the ground, what you would need to do is to add some sort of mulch or insulation over top of them. Now, you could just leave it in the ground just like this, but what I would suggest for you to do, if I was keeping them in the ground, what I would do is, if it was still in the ground, I would just chop the tops, because again, that's what's going to happen, because even after these start to die, again, the root is going to send all of its energy up into the greens. So if you just chop the greens, but leave them up high enough so that you actually will be able to find them. And like I said, you would want to put some sort of insulation on top of it. So cut it here and then pile it with insulation, whether it's mulch, like actual wood chip mulch, it could be straw, sawdust, pretty much anything that would give like the insulating value. And depending on where you're at, you also might want to put like a small tarp over top of it just to hold in even more. The next way would be to store them in a root cellar. If you were going to do it through a root cellar, what you would want to do is cut the tops off and don't wash them. Like these are not washed. And then you would want to lay them in a box of some sort and put them side by side, making sure that they don't touch while they're in the box. And again, do a sort of insulation type thing. A lot of people will use sawdust. I know back in the day they just used dirt. And if you don't have a cellar like us, we do not have a root cellar, you could do the same method by using it and doing it in a refrigerator. Again, it would be the same concept, only you wouldn't put the dirt or mulch. But what you would do, cut the tops off, leave it dirty, put them in a bag, and you can put them in the refrigerator. Another good way to preserve your carrots is to dehydrate them. But to dehydrate them, there's a few more steps than just cutting the tops off. If I was going to dehydrate them, what I would do is, again, cut the tops off, wash them really, really good, slice them really thin, or you could even shred them. Put them in the dehydrator on about 125 until they get pretty dry. You'll be able to tell because they'll be pretty brittle. But that is how you could dehydrate them. Another way to preserve them is to can them. Now, being carrot isn't a low acidic food, you would actually have to pressure can them. And what you do is, again, cut the tops off, clean them. You could either slice them, leave them whole, cut them in chunks, pretty much however you are planning on using them. Cut them that way, wash it. Okay, hold on. Cut the tops off, wash it up, and then cut them however you're wanting to use them, whether that's sliced or in spears, however you plan on using them. And then you hot pack them into jars. And by hot pack, what that means is you basically put the carrot into the jar raw, and then you pour boiling water over top of it. And then follow the directions on how long to process them. How I'm going to be preserving them is I'm actually going to be freezing them. And I'm going to be freezing them in a couple different ways. Some I will be slicing and freezing, but for the most part, I will be cutting them into cubes and freezing them in cubes. And I'll probably even do a little bit of shredding just for some carrot cakes and stuff like that. And the shredding is nice to be able to throw into casseroles and stuff like that. I think that's about it for this batch. That's how much we got harvested in that 2x3 bed. That's quite a few carrots. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is get these all washed up. And the way I like to do it is just in cold water. I like using, they have these little scrub brushes and they work great for cleaning up vegetables. And I just have some cold water over here. And I'm just gonna get these all scrubbed up, get the dirt off of them, and then we'll be ready for the next part. Like, look at that one. It may not be a pretty carrot, but it'll eat just as well. One of the great things about growing organic is I'm just scrubbing the dirt off. There's nothing on these that is going to hurt me or my family. It's just dirt. Okay, the next step to harvesting our carrots. We got a nice clean bowl of carrots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cleaning them off. You can see it still has a little bit of the hairs. Not that those will hurt you, but I just like getting them cleaned off. So what I use is I just use regular potato peeler and I just hit those spots. You can actually peel the whole thing if you want to. I don't plan on it. I just plan on getting those little hairs off. And then I am going to chop it and give it to my lovely assistant here. And I'm going to be using this little doodad here. I don't really know what it's called, and I can't even tell you where I got it, but it works out really well. What I really like about it is it has 3 different here. You can see how small it is. It has another one that's just like a slicer, and then a much larger one. This little fork, because here makes it easy to clean this doodad up. Just gonna do a little bit of shave. I call it shaving. And then I will cut it into chunks, slices about this big. Anything small like that, I will be keeping for roasts. All the bigger ones, I have my lovely assistant Boo here to chop up for cubes for soup stocks. Let me tell you, there is a huge flavor difference from homegrown carrots to store-bought carrots. The best way I can explain it is, you know how baby carrots have like that intense sweet flavor to it? Store carrots tend to be a little bit more woody, is the best way I can describe it, as where baby carrots tend to have that stronger carrot flavor, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it other than carrot flavor. But the difference is the carrots that you've grown, that flavor is a natural flavor. That's what carrots are supposed to taste like. But the baby carrot flavor doesn't actually come from it. So if you love baby carrots, don't go looking at how baby carrots are made, because you may never want to eat another baby carrot again. But if you like the taste of baby carrots, grow your own, because you get that sweet, sweet carrot flavor without the processing that it takes for these baby carrots. Because that baby carrot processing, it ain't good. It's not good at all. This whole thing to do, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna keep working at this, and we will be back with you as soon as we get all this done to show you what we do next. We have 2 bowls of the chopped stuff that I will be using for soup stocks, and then I got a bowl of the smaller stuff that I will be using for stews and roasts and things like that. Next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be blanching these. I separated it into 3 small batches so that it'd be easier to handle, and I have my water just starting to boil now. Here I have some ice cold water. So what I'm going to be doing is I will be putting each of these in one at a time. So I'm going to start with this one. I'll put this in here. I'll blanch this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then as soon as the 2 to 3 minutes are over, I'll take that and strain it out and then put it directly into the ice cold water. Now some people, when they're freezing, they don't even bother to blanch it. I like blanching it because what blanching does is it just like seals in the flavor, so that the flavor and the nutrients and everything are just a little bit better, and it just preserves in the freezing process a little bit better. So I always blanch my vegetables before I freeze them. And it also makes them look better too. It kind of holds the color. We are going to strain these. Careful the steam. Okay, I got these strained off. Now I'm just going to put it in ice cold water. And what that does is it actually stops the cooking process. So while those are cooling off, I'm gonna go ahead and get the next batch boiling, and so I can get the next batch ready to go, and we'll be doing the same process, and I will show you how I do what I do next. Okay, I got the freezer bags ready, and I'm just going to strain this off. And then I like to squeeze as much of the air out. There we go, one bag ready. So with that one side, I got over 6 pounds of food put up in our freezer for us, and we got some chicken treats. Okay, so I got carrots picked and harvested, put up, chickens fed. It's like a blue million degrees out here, so I'm finishing my day up in there. Hope you guys had a good time hanging out with me today. Be safe and God bless.